With the introduction of the 2.4 patch update came a massive amount of lore and story. One of them was the highly anticipated character, Shenhe. She, like Beidou, is another priceless jewel in the Liyue treasure chest of lore. Shenhe is a young woman in her late 20s to early 30s, and falls under the cryo class of vision holders, wielding the very polearm a Yaksha once used to defend Liyue, the Calamity Queller. She is also the blood relative of another beloved cryo character, Chongyun. I guess being chilly runs in the family tree, because they even practice the same form of exorcism. But unlike Chongyun, she could be considered a master exorcist. Her constellation, Crista Dolores, means Crest of Sorrow, which ties into her past and possibly the tragic fate that looms over her like a dark shadow. But before we head more into Shenhe's life, before we begin though, if you enjoy Tevat's Facts and Wisdom, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. After the video is over, join us over in our community Discord server, where we talk all about Genshin, including lore. Okay, with that said, let's open the Tevat dictionary and see what's been uncovered. There is no lack of local lore on Shenhe, and they all paint her in a shroud of mystery. Many mistake her for an Adeptus in human form, only to be in for a shock when their frigid savior leaves them in the dust and on her way, paying them no mind. But in reality, Shenhe's story is not a pleasant one. It is, to date, one of the darker stories we have seen yet. Shenhe was born into a branch of Chongyun's esteemed family of exorcists. Her parents welcomed her into the world on a spring day on March 10th. And she was born with a rather unique constitution. She did not always have the silver hair and pale eyes we see now. She was just like any other child in Liyue. Her hair is ebony black before her troubles bared fangs at her and everyone near and dear. However, the heavens have a cruel and twisted plot, it seems, in store for Shenhe from the moment she was born. Her mother was sickly and frail, and passed away when she was only 5 years old. Driven mad with sorrow and grief, unable to let go of his dearly departed wife, he sought out a forbidden art, known as fate transference. Blissfully unaware of what would transpire, karma and fate are fickle mistresses, as naive 5-year-old Shenhe was led away by her father with the promise of a special surprise by him. So, to a dark, ominous cave she was taken, and what awaited was a pure living hell. Her father had summoned a black Seelie with eyes red as blood, as her father abandoned her to its mercy, with only a lone blade for her defense. This was when it started to become blatantly clear Shenhe was no normal child, as most would have been frozen with fear or ran away. Nope, not Shenhe, as she, like a caged and cornered tiger, fought the malicious entity for days and won. This was the sight Cloud Retainer discovered, a lone girl frightened and stuck in an aggressive mode of fight or flight, barely conscious in her weakened state. However, she and the other Adepti soon foresaw the sinister shadows of Shenhe's fate, doomed to bring calamity to herself and all those around her. But how did she receive her cryovision in the first place? Turn back the hands of time to when little Shenhe was locked in a brutal battle with the monster. It was a battle seemingly without end, but by some sick twist, the heavens looked on her with favor, bestowing a vision of cryo gleaming in the darkness like a star. That turned the tables in Shenhe's favor, before she was soon found in her weakened state by the Adepti. Taking pity on her and seeing the talent she bore, the Adepti took her into their care, binding her with sealing red ropes to curb her murderous nature. She became one of many of Cloud Retainer's students, raised into the fine exorcist we see today. However, Shenhe lost her ability to freely express and show her emotions due to the ropes. The Adepti all hold a respect and family-like bond with Shenhe, seeing her like that precious, sheltered child, naive of the world's ways. Shenhe's first encounter with us was actually when we left an offering at her master's abode, but was never seen in the story. This was revealed in the character teaser itself as we walk right by without noticing Shenhe. Shenhe's circle of connections is small, but they include very prominent figures in the Nation of Contracts, such as Xiao, Ningguang, Hu Tao, and Yunjin. However, she has one very interesting connection in two people, Zhang Li and her nephew, Chongyun. Shenhe has revealed a heavy hint that she suspects Zhang Li is not mortal. Going by her words, that gentleman claims to be immortal, yet is very familiar with my master, who is an adeptus. Master once said, "If you see him drinking on a stone stool in front of my abode, do not disturb him. Let him sit quietly for a while." And that's precisely what I did. Will she find out he's actually Rex Lapis in the future? It is possible. As for her nephew, it's really wholesome, as Shenhe expresses a desire to train and help her nephew grow as an exorcist. Shenhe is described to have a very bad temper, and is quick to turn to violence for her solutions. But as to how her hair became so pale, it is due to a special white jade comb given to her by the Adepti. Combing her hair with it made her hair change, and was to be considered as her right to enter an apprenticeship with them into the Adepti arts. To this day, she still has the comb, something to show her connection with the Adepti and her beloved teacher, Cloud Retainer. But as she grew older, her murderous tendencies only grew more violent. Jump to the present day, Cloud Retainer sends Shenhe to the harbor city to deliver the Adepti sigils that Ningguang would need to rebuild the Jade Chamber. That is when we truly are introduced to Shenhe. Throughout the quest, we learn of her tale of woe and desires and wishes. We even became one of her very few friends. Shenhe eventually reunites with her uncle in the ruins of her childhood village. It is through Shenhe we learn many things of the Adepti and are introduced to the massive revelation of the Lord of the Vortex, having a lover and wife who ends up harming us by sending Shenhe into action as she saves us, revealing she has a very protective side to her despite her stoic and violent tendencies. Though, despite these, she plays a huge role in defending against Osial's lovely wife. At the end of all of this, Yunjin performed an amazing opera based on Shenhe. And if you saw the cutscene, you would know how truly beautiful it was. Well, there you have it. Shenhe, the Divine Damsel of Devastation. This story may not have been a happy one, but maybe we might just be able to change stars of doom into those of good fortune. She is an amazing mortal raised by the Adepti and has very killer cryo abilities. She is very much a gem, and I look forward to learning more and seeing where her path in the future takes her. And I know we can assure our Adepti friends that Shenhe is in safe hands with us. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close the Tebotchinary. Thanks so much for watching, and with that said, I will see you in the future for more Genshin Impact content and lore.